Recording in progress.
Please.
Chair Bannon,
Yes.
Vice Chair Grindal,
Yes. Yes, we'll start off with Dr. Triplett. I believe he has the latest information on the school district's efforts in this regard.
Oh, there we go. Still learning the microphone. The little magic touch there. Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here. This is really spectacular to be in this beautiful space. I do have a slide deck, and I just plugged in. Kathy, am I able to be up on the screen there?
okay, go ahead.
Let's see. Oh, and you all can see it. And here it comes for the public as well. All right, wonderful. So we're starting off with the COVID update.
Oh, hold on one quick second. Kathy, it's not on our screens here anymore.
Okay, I see it. We have it here on
Oh,
ours.
oh, you have it? Okay. All right.
It's just not on yours and on
Up there.
Do you have it?
No, it's not over here.
Hmm.
Is Miss Moss available?
Oh, we just lost ours.
Oh, no problem. All right, we are back up. Thank you, Mr. Benoon. So, first item, COVID updates. We did want to share out about vaccination and testing efforts since the last time we met. We have continued with the Coyote Hills Elementary vaccination clinic. It is now, it's reopening as of Saturday, April 23rd for Saturdays instead of Sundays. We did close for Easter, and then the county wanted to move it to Saturdays to be more, they felt like they would be getting more traffic if they moved it to Saturday. So that's been happening. We also are very excited to have a free COVID-19 vaccine clinic on Fridays in partnership with the county and Bay Area Community Health at right outside the Mexican Tortilla Factory. So that's a really exciting one. And that is starting, I believe. It's Friday. There you go. Yeah. So we're really excited about that. And then lastly, the COVID testing is continuing at all our sites. We are shifting from Sundays to Saturdays here as well for testing at Whiteford. One thing to note is that the federal government recently stopped, the funding expired for free testing for the public. And so hopefully that's going through the federal legislature as we speak in the next couple of days, and hopefully there'll be more funding for it. But as of right now, the president has had to stop offering free testing to those who are uninsured in the meantime. However, for students and staff, we continue to be able to provide free testing at all our sites. So that's just for the Whiteford Clinic for the public. That's changed, hopefully temporarily. And then lastly, we were able, we just came back from spring break today, and thanks to the county, we were able to provide test kits, rapid test kits for all of our staff and students. We gave those out before the break with the expectation that both students and staff would test 24 hours prior to return to school today. So that is an added safety measure that we're grateful for the county and the state to have been able to provide. And then that's it for that agenda item.
Colleagues, questions on this item? Yes, board member.
As of today, do you know how many students were out prior to the 24-hour testing that, based on the kits that you gave?
Meaning how many cases we've gotten. So we're still collecting the data,
Okay.
And we'll do that throughout this week to really gauge if there was a negative impact, a negative positive for the spring break. I think as of this morning there was, I believe, 5 cases, and don't quote me on that. Okay. I think it was 5 cases, 2 adults, but that's. If we stay steady at that, then I think that we're in a pretty good situation.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Triplett.
Dr. Triplett, have we seen an increase in the percentage of students that have been receiving the vaccination?
Yes, although it's definitely not as significant an increase as we hoped. There's been, as we've spoken about in this setting before, a lot of effort on the part of the city, the county, and the school district to really try to promote this, and so we have gotten more people vaccinated, but I do think there is still an unvaccinated population out there.
Well, I appreciate the school district's efforts, and I appreciate the efforts of businesses like the Tortilla Factory that provide space and opportunity for folks to receive the vaccination. We can only provide the opportunity. Mm-hmm. And we continue to do so. So thank you for those efforts.
Yeah, thank you. And I think it's a great example of the partnership between the district and we've really appreciated everybody coordinating on this. So it's been really good.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? C2 is middle school design at the Newark Junior High School. Dr. Triplett?
All right, thank you. So moving on to middle school design, as we all know, next year we've been planning for the transition of the sixth grade, which has always, for time immemorial, has been in the elementary schools, and planning for the transition to a middle school format, where there'll be sixth, seventh, and eighth grade at what's currently the junior high campus. So a lot of work has continued to happen. Just a quick update, we did have our most recent engagement with families on April 6th. We were able to, the school staff and district staff were able to share information with families about the upcoming school year. There was, I think we had about 150 families who logged on to Zoom for the sixth grade orientation, and then we had a seventh grade one as well, because as you know, the current sixth graders, it'll be their first time on campus next year as well at the junior high. So I think there was about 140, 150 families there. All told, around 300 families came to these two Zoom meetings the night of April 6th. We've had a lot of work around master schedule, so figuring out all the different classes and periods and how it all work. We've also been doing a lot of work around the facilities utilization. Thankfully, that site is quite large and will be able to house all the sixth grade, seventh grade, and eighth grade. So we've been working really hard to make sure everything is in place there. There is some facility upgrades that we are doing. Some spaces that were not needed up until now or have been used as storage spaces, we will return to having them as office spaces with the increase in staff. And then we've done our budget allocations for the school budget, and so in partnership with our budget office and the school leadership, we've been working on the school budget and allocations there, and that'll be presented to what's called the SSC, School Site Council, for approval. And then on a daily basis, the district has been supporting at the junior high with supervision and just general support. I've had the honor of being there twice a week for lunch supervision. It's wonderful. It's the best part of my week to be able to hang out with the young people and meet kids and engage with them. And it's just a wonderful bunch of young people. And let's see, do I have another slide on there? Oh, no, that's it for middle school.
Great. Colleagues, any questions on this item?
Yes.
Councilman Collazo.
So my understanding was that the fifth graders were going to the junior high also, that's why were going to science camp with the sixth graders, because they were going to be moving over to the junior high?
The current fifth graders, who will be sixth graders next year, we call them rising sixth graders, so they are going to the junior high next year. The ones that are currently fifth graders will be at the junior high next year as sixth graders. But there will be no fifth graders at the junior high.
Junior, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I know, it's confusing.
Yeah.
So the current sixth graders, who will then be seventh graders next year, and the current fifth graders, who will then be sixth graders next year, they will both be at the junior high.
Completely cleared up. Thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you, Dr. Triplett. It's amazing. This was a significant undertaking, and it's amazing how fast time progresses to wherein now this is right around the corner. So thank you to you and your staff and all those that participated, parents, teachers, and others, to make this a smooth transition at the end of the day. So thank you for all their efforts. The next item on the...
Sorry. Can I say two other things I neglected to mention? One is, one of the big questions was the teachers, and would teachers be current sixth grade teachers, and how that would work with them transitioning over. And we worked with NTA in really good partnership to develop an MOU around that. I'm excited to say that the number of teachers who want to transition and become sixth graders at the middle school, sixth grade teachers, exceeds the number of positions we have there. So it's the best seat in town. It's a hot ticket. And I think that's a real credit to the design team that has been put in place, and we have teachers on that design team that have worked really hard to create a really powerful program for next year. And I think the word sort of spread about the excitement of it and all of the good things that were going to happen. So we have a great group of teachers that are going to be there. The entire staff of teaching staff of the music elementary decided that they really wanted to go together to the junior high. So that's 6 teachers from Music Elementary who will all be part of the 6th grade team. And then we had another 5 teachers, I believe, that from other schools, other 6th grade teachers or other teachers who also elected to go.
Are you planning at this point any kind of a big citywide event or anything like that to welcome these new students as they come to the junior high level? I mean, is there be some kind of a citywide celebration in that regard that certainly we can attend or certainly participate in if given the opportunity?
Yeah, thank you. No, we don't have anything officially planned yet, but I think it's a great idea. I think part of, the COVID question has still out there, but if everything continues to progress as we hope with COVID, then that would definitely be a really nice thing to do.
Well, it's always encouraging to hear that the teachers who really are kind of the bloodline for a successful school district are enthusiastic and excited about this opportunity. That bodes well moving forward, so I'm glad to hear that as well.
Thank you.
Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll move on to C3, crossing guard update and possible addition to the Newark Junior High School. Mr. Benoon?
Yes, good evening, members of the committee. If this committee may recall, back in, I believe, the fall, I think it was at the October meeting, committee member Nguyen asked as to whether or not the city would be able to fund a crossing guard position over at the Newark Junior High School. And I think at that time I had indicated that we would have to go through some sort of an analysis to determine whether or not a crossing guard at that site would be justified. And staff has had the opportunity to do that. So as a result of that analysis, staff will be recommending that a crossing guard be put over there at that location. The exact site of the crossing guard would be the intersection of Lafayette and Christine Street. As a result of the closure of, I believe it is Music Elementary School next fiscal year, this would not change any of the cost to the contract. If the committee may recall, the city has a third-party vendor that provides crossing guard services. The city pays for that entirely and has been doing so for a number of years. We have crossing guards at all elementary school locations. As a result of the closure of Music Elementary School, that crossing guard FTE could then go over to the junior high, so this would not result in any changes to the contract. Staff would be recommending as part of the next biennial budget process that the council not amend that line item. I assume we'll put in some sort of typical COLA. I imagine the contract calls for that. And then we would just continue funding that contract as is. So there's really no action necessary from this committee and no action necessary from staff. And I think we'll just continue to move along in that regard. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Questions, board members? Mr. Grindal?
Not so much a question as just a comment to thank the city for its continued cooperation in this and the quick action on that analysis. I understand it's a complicated analysis. Want to make sure that the crossing guards are in where they're most needed and it's in a safe setting. So just a strong appreciation for the city's continued partnership in this.
You're most welcome.
I'd also like to say thank you, and I know that the city is also working on other analysis and doing a citywide study on all of the safety areas in the city of Newark and also around the school districts, the school sites. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I've been participating in the LRSP as one of the stakeholders. So it's really great that we're taking that initiative to make streets and the city as a whole more safe for our community. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Benoon. Any questions from the audience on this item? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Benoon, for that. The new business, D1, Newark Unified School District enrollment marketing on billboards. Dr. Triplett?
Ms. Lafter, can you add the PowerPoint back on, please?
I'm sorry, that was my fault.
Oh.
I took it off.
Oh, I'm sorry. It already is up there. Let me go ahead and
Maybe just slideshow.
do that. And there we go.
There we go. All right. Thank you, Mr. Burnett. So I actually asked for this agenda item just because I wanted to just give a shout out and appreciation to the city. So we're really interested in increasing enrollment, of course. And so one of the things on my daily commute down here, I drive through a number of cities and notice some other districts with billboards with enrollment. And so it was frustrating me on a daily basis. And then I found out that Newark has its own billboards, and talked to Mr. Benoon, and he immediately said, oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's, we can help you with that. So this was our first go round, our first rendition of a billboard. We actually have a professional graphic designer who's been preparing a second version that we're really excited about too, that has some children in it, and did some really fun photo shoot. And so just wanted to appreciate the city for the partnership and for offering this up. I think it's another great example of partnering together to improve outcomes for kids. Has anybody seen it while driving?
I did.
Is it on both the 84 and 880?
I think it
I've
is.
seen it on 880 going southbound. I've seen it.
Okay. I think it is like as you come off the bridge too. That's what I've heard.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go drive over there.
There's more than
Two,
one.
yeah, multiple.
Any other questions or comments from board members?
No,
Yes.
just wanted to say thank you again for the partnership with the city and to be able to utilize all the resources or extending the resources to our district as well. So thank you.
I have a comment.
Councilmember Collazo.
I know you keep saying thank you. Well, we have to work together because the city's only as good as its school district. So school district and city have to work together to make the best community for our residents. So
Thank you.
it's a privilege to work together so that we can succeed together.
Thank you.
And marketing is key. You undoubtedly saw the same article that I did in the San Francisco Chronicle about how the public school enrollment it's not unique to Alameda County. All counties in the Bay Area are dealing with enrollment issues, and in many cases, much more severe than Alameda County. And so I think it's incumbent upon us as representatives of our community to highlight the real benefits to our families and our children about having them go to their local school districts or schools. There's a real benefit in that, and it's really incumbent upon us to work, as Councilmember Collazo said, to work together to achieve that goal. So I was pleased to see that the enrollment, even though down, was not nearly as severe as it was in other areas. So we have our work cut out for us, but I think we're up for the challenge. So thank you for that report. Any comments from the public on this item? The next item I actually put on the agenda, and the reason I put this on the agenda was that as kids are getting back into school and there's a lot of anxiety among our kids, we've heard about the kids in school where there's fights going on and this and that. So I wanted to really understand the relationship between the school district and the city as it relates to public safety officers on our campuses. And because I know there's been a lot of pushback from a number of communities wanting not to have public safety officers on their campus. I think it's a real privilege and it's a real benefit to a community to have public safety officers there, not just simply to ensure that our kids are safe, but I think they provide a great deal of other opportunities for kids to have someone that they can talk with if they're experiencing, issues of concern. So I think having a presence on the campus is important. So that's why I wanted to put this item on the agenda. I wanted to better understand how this relationship is working. And so I'll ask Dr. Triplett if he would like to discuss that briefly.
Yes, thank you. Well, first of all, I want to say, and I know Lieutenant Sal's here in the audience, with just a public appreciation for the police department and all the support. We do have a SRO on our campus at Memorial. That's the one SRO that we have in our schools, and that's Officer Knudsen. And she's also available to support the other schools as well, but primarily is at the high school. And then we also have we often have officers there in one capacity or another, just there to build relationships with students during lunch and stuff like that, or responding to any sort of situation. So very appreciative of Lieutenant Sal and the whole team. And I think maybe Lieutenant Sal might want to come up and speak a little bit about it, but the SRO is actually supervised by the police, not by the district, but of course there's a partnership there and coordination there, and so the principal of the school obviously is also considers the officer part of the team. And the officer has an office there, and you know, is involved in all of the safety and coordination of the school site.
Excellent. Lieutenant Sandoval, would you like to come up and speak to your experiences in this area? Excellent.
Am I on?
Oh, you know, I think you have to turn on, Kathy. Okay.
Am I on? Okay. Testing. Yeah, I am very passionate about education and our partnership with the school. My career I started my career obviously doing the fun law enforcement stuff, but right around 2014, 13, 14, I became a school teacher. So never really had an interest in the schools, quite honestly, before I became a school teacher at the high school. And once I started interacting with the high school kids, I dove right into becoming a school resource officer. So I was the school resource officer at Newark Memorial until I promoted into supervision, into management. And during those years, I got to watch my relationship with the kids and my interaction with the kids, and trying to keep that fear that kids may develop from being around police, keep that away from the school. And I'll tell you a lot of positive experiences when I was the SRO, and just watching the officer interact with the kids right now is great. We actually have 2 police officers that are working the street right now that were Newark Memorial High School students when I was their SRO, and they took my class. So that is definitely a positive for me, watching them get into a lifelong career. So supervising the SRO program, the partnership between us and the school, the important communication that needs to be there, I think is what has gotten the program to be very successful, being able to call the superintendent on his cell phone at any hour of the night. I think we talked one night at 2 or 3 in the morning, different issues that may come up, so that we can be able to discuss them before the school even gets back in session. Our partnership has had some challenges. I think right off the top, coming back from COVID has been a challenge for everyone, and getting back into the full swing of things. We're still trying to get meetings back in order that we have on a routine basis. We usually have, I believe, somewhere in the area of 6, 7, 8 meetings during the school year. That's, I think, one of our biggest challenges right now after COVID, on top of, for us, some of the increased activity as the kids get back into the swing of things. But we've been working together and discussing our issues as they come up.
Colleagues, questions?
Yes.
Councilmember Carriazo.
Go on.
See, I'm not the only one.
It's not going on. Oh, there, I got it. So I really appreciate the officers at the schools. When my children went to the high school, it was Officer Chan.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a relationship that has developed, and to this day, Officer Chan, his whole family, you know, you just become part of the family, the community. But I appreciate you guys a million. These kids look up to you. I know, especially you. They really look up to you. I've heard lots of positive things from the kids. We work with a lot of the kids through Avanzando, and you know, so your name has come up quite a bit. have you ever thought about maybe having an officer at the junior high, building up that relationship starting at an earlier age? I think that would be of a benefit.
So it's certainly something that needs to be up for discussion with this committee, and we did in the past have an officer at the junior high. And believe it's been probably right around 2015 or maybe sooner, if I'm not mistaken, that based on budgetary reasons and staffing reasons, the junior high officer wasn't able to be refilled. So that position was taken away. So it's certainly something that's up for consideration. Right now, we're working outside of an MOU that's expired, so it's something that we'd have to review.
Okay. Well, I'd like to see if that would be something that would be doable, because I think, especially in these times, building that relationship at an earlier age would be a real benefit to our community. Thank you for all you do for our community.
Thank you.
Board Member Grindal.
I just want to say, you know, we hear in the news, or we did over the past few years, about problems with the police on the schools, campuses, and so on and so forth. But what we have in Newark is really, I think, a model for how this could be done, and it really has a lot of positive implications for our community, and that really is a testament to both the schools and how they interact with you, but really to your officers, the way they're trained, the way they interact in that position. It really is a special thing, and it's not taken for granted, and we very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
I just wanted to echo all the same sentiments as my fellow colleagues here. So thank you for working with our students, and you and your staff doing a wonderful job interacting. And again, it's the presence of public safety at the schools is something that we definitely do not take for granted. So thank you.
Yes, and we definitely enjoy being there. And thank you guys, because it comes back to that partnership that we have and that cooperation and communication that we have.
Well, I think our parents, when they drop their children off at school, want to know that they're in a safe environment. I mean, that's tantamount. And I think it's important to have presence on these campuses. As you mentioned, a friend, a partnership, so that children know that if they are having issues either at school or at home, that there's someone that they can talk to about those issues and feel safe. So I think it's an important relationship to have. You mentioned that we were working under an MOU. My understanding is that that MOU has expired. So I would ask the superintendent and the city, maybe in the next few months, to sit down and look at the MOU, make whatever revisions, changes to that MOU, and maybe come back to this committee, not at our next meeting, Kathy, but maybe 2 meetings from now, with kind of an update as to where we're at. Hopefully, we're successful and we have a new MOU that we can bring back to our respective boards. But I think that's something that we need to do. So if we can add that as a future agenda item, I don't know if I need a motion to do that or not, but I'll just to formalize it, I'll ask if my colleagues support that.
I do, and I'll make that motion.
Great.
Second.
Thank you. So we have a motion to bring back a revised draft of the MOU moving forward. It doesn't have to be completed by that date. If it is, great, but at least knowing that we're moving in that direction. And I would ask the maker of the motion to incorporate Councilmember Coyal's request and suggestion that we maybe look at expanding the SRO to the junior high as well. And there may be a reason to do that or not to do that, but I'll leave it up to city staff and the superintendent and the police department to make that determination as to kind of on a needs basis, whether or not that's something that we need daily or simply a presence there. I'll leave that up to the experts. And so we'll bring that back, Kathy, 2 meetings from now for an update as to where we're at. Thank you, Lieutenant, for being here. I appreciate it. Appreciate all you do. And please make sure you extend to your colleagues our appreciation for making sure not only are we in a safe community, but the parents can be assured that their children will be safe at school as long as we have a presence there.
Well, and it's a great recruiting tool, apparently, so that's awesome, too.
I meant to mention that because at our last council meeting, one of the new police officers is a Newark high school grad, and oh, by the way, the other was a Moreau High School grad. So you're getting, the best from both institutions. And in my mind, there's no greater relationship when an officer says, I went to this school, I know this school, and it's a great, as Terrence mentioned, a great recruiting opportunity. So congratulations. I would imagine a number of the younger people that you have in the police cadet are probably high school students at the high school.
Yeah, we start teaching them in the high school. They become interested in the career path, and they make the jump into the the Explorer program. Explorer Cadets interchangeable, and then we start teaching them from there, and they decide to apply it to Newark and stay home.
I think like Board Member Grindal mentioned, there was something that we're doing here in Newark that we're doing right that other cities could emulate. And again, it's that partnership that we've created coupled with your help that makes that successful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Triplett. A public comment on this item? Yes, ma'am.
Well, when I read the agenda for this meeting, and my first one.
Welcome.
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 Awesome, very, very nice. When I was reading the agenda and it said officers with an S and a presence at public schools with an S, I got excited like this was gonna come back to the junior high. Because I remember when it was there, and 2013 is when it was cut, and it was very, very excited to think about just the possibility of the conversation of having it back. I am a teacher here in Newark, but I'm also a parent of, I had one go through already, she's in college, but I do have a daughter at the junior high right now. So wearing the teacher hat and, NTA hat and a community member hat, out of 293 teachers that we have, 33% of those are Newark community members. And the percentage gets lower from there, but I think it was about 17% of those have kids that go to school in the district. So not only would it be a presence for the students, to address their concerns, but also for the teachers too, who like I'm wearing multiple hats here, the parent hat and the NTA hat here, but a presence for the teachers as well and their concerns. But very excited that this was that is going to be talked about. So I didn't really need to ask for anything. You guys already said okay.
Well, I don't want to discount the fact that the relationship between our SROs and the teachers is critically important as well, because you see these students 7-8 hours a day. Some of the challenges that they're facing in their home life.
Oh, for sure.
And this is an opportunity to reach out to someone that says, I think this student is having some issues at home, whether it be abuse issues or whatever the case may be, that you have a resource that you can go to
Right.
and bring that information to their attention. So, no, you're a critical component. So if we glossed over that, we certainly did not intend to do that.
Oh, no, not at all, but just excited and we all work together.
Could I ask kindly for your name for our information?
Oh, my name's Sherry Villa.
Thank you, Sherry. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
D3 is an update on the Star Academy, and I'm going to look to Superintendent Triplett.
Wonderful. So, we're excited. I think Member Grindal requested this item. We're really excited to share out about the Star Academy. I think this might be the first time sharing in this forum. So the Star Academy stands for Science, Technology, Aerospace, and Robotics, and it is a new initiative that we are launching for the upcoming school year. And it will include, first, before I get too far into it, I wanted to show a video. Is it possible to hit?
You just go ahead and click play.
What awesome technology we have here.
Oh, wait, let's see it working first. You might have cursed it. See?
Ms. Montez, I don't know how to take this off the screen. This is a link to a YouTube, so it goes over to the web browser. So I don't know how to move this to the separate screen. There's us here.
It's better that you work this out at this meeting instead of the council meeting.
hurry and get ready and take me to school like that.
My daughter would love it.
Aw.
You jinxed it, like they said. This doesn't happen at city council meetings.
Sorry, I'm the troublemaker. Trying to do all sorts of crazy stuff here.
Do you want us to come back and finish up kind of on other items?
I don't think there's anything else left other than public comment.
Well, let's do that. Folks, I'm gonna go ahead and take, if there's any public comment on any item, either on the agenda or not on the agenda, I'll open it up for public comment. Okay,
Yes, that's the alternate screen.
Go back where? Go back to David's.
board members, any future agenda items? I see that, I made a request that we look at the situation of students and how they're doing academically as they transition out of the COVID-19 pandemic. So that'll be on the next agenda. Are there other agenda items that you want to add?
I was thinking for future agenda items that we have additional partnerships in terms of like all the recreation programs and enrichment programs that the city is offering, and how we can best maybe work together and see or advertise for you guys in terms of our student population and their needs, and work together with recreation on that.
Okay, so maybe at the next meeting, we can ask somebody from the Parks Recreation Department to kind of come in and talk about some of their program, or maybe even the library, to come
Oh,
in and
yeah.
talk about some of their programs.
Add that.
So maybe let's start with the library.
Okay.
And talk about some of the programs that they make available or have available to our children, and how we can get that information out to the school kids so that they know that those programs are available, and hopefully they're taking advantage of them. Anytime I see a presentation by the library, there are just thousands and thousands participating. But so maybe at our next meeting, Mr. Benoon, if you'd be kind enough to maybe reach out to the librarian and see if he could come and kind of give a brief presentation on programs at the library as they might benefit our school-age kids.
Programs
Member.
such as the parks, that you can now make a reservation for the parks using your library card.
So, did you catch that? You got that, Mr. Benoon?
Sure, the next scheduled committee meeting is the third Monday in June, I believe.
Okay.
More than happy to ask our Newark librarian, Mr. Soner, to attend and provide an overview of his programming. I can certainly ask Rec and Community Services staff to attend as well.
I'm sorry, what was the last part?
I can certainly ask Recreation and Community Services.
Let's just have the library.
Okay.
And maybe at the following meeting, or we'll ask the parks folks rather than overload it with one, because Joe Stoner will put on a good presentation.
Okay.
Board member Nguyen, any other items that you want to see at future agenda items at this point?
That was the one I was going to say as well, so
Okay.
no, I don't have anything else.
Okay. Councilmember Collazo, were there any items that you wanted to see at a future agenda?
No, there wasn't, but can we go to public comment just for a second?
Sure.
I wanted to invite anybody that's watching to our grand opening for City Hall. Can you see that? It's on May 14th, Saturday, May 14th, from 11 to 3, right outside these beautiful halls here. And there will be tours, both of all three, the library, the police department, and this beautiful City Hall. So come on out, enjoy. we'll have some refreshments and some games and, there was something else, music, senior moment. All right, thank you. And lots of food.
Excellent. And then, of course, the other item that I discussed on the school resource officer, that won't come back in June, but the following meeting, what would be that following meeting date, Kathy? October. So that'll come back to us in October. Okay. And again, that doesn't mean that we can't add other items to our agenda. If you have another item you want to add to your agenda, to the agenda, I would ask that you notify me 15 days prior to the June meeting, and we'll see if we can't add that at that time. So again, 15 days prior, we'll go ahead and add additional items as they come available. Superintendent Triplett.
All right, thank you. So we'll just run this. It's just a very quick promotional video with regard to the Star Academy.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
All right, so that's evidently what they call in marketing a sizzle reel. Gets you, it's supposed to get you tantalized and wonder about more information. And so this is that video was sent out over social media. I think we're at a couple tens of thousands of viewers at the.
It should go on the billboard.
It should go on the billboard. That would be awesome. I don't know if that's possible, but it sounds great. So a little bit about the STAR initiative. So I'll just read this. It's a comprehensive K-12 computer science pathway to prepare students with the 21st century skills and competencies to excel in a career in the computer science and technology industry. The STAR initiative is vertically aligned across all grade levels in order for students to develop as computer scientists in ways that are appropriate at each grade level. The STAR initiative seeks to address the traditional underrepresentation of females and people of color in the computer science and tech industry through targeted support and intervention. So this is going to be something that we're launching next year, but it's going to be a work in progress for a number of years as we build it up. The idea is that in the lower grades, that through maker spaces and design thinking, we'll build students' capacity to be starting to think as computer scientists. And then in the junior high, we've already started some STEM, and I believe we had 1 or 2 coding classes this year. So we're seeking to expand those. Myself and President Wen had a chance to go and visit one of the coding classes and get to see the students at the junior high designing apps. So our goal is to go from being users of technology to producers or creators of technology for our kids. And so in the high school, which is the point that we'll launch next year, we really want to make sure that there's different access points for students. Some students who maybe are interested in just taking one class in computer science, or students who are really interested in jumping all in and getting what we're calling a Masters of Code certificate. So what that'll be is that'll have a lot of requirements to it, but essentially students, in order to get the Master of Code on their transcript, which then they can use in applying to colleges, they will have to have passed both computer science, what's called computer science, AP Computer Science A and AP Computer Science P, two really rigorous courses that we, one had already been taught at the high school in the past. This year we started the second class as well, so both those are now up and running. So the requirement will be to pass those two classes, as well as doing certain other things such as internships, presentations, visiting different industry companies in the area, and there's a whole slew of other requirements that'll be involved, and a lot of extracurricular activities, clubs, events, etc. So we're really excited about this. We're excited that we're launching this. This year really was sort of a soft launch in some senses, but next year we'll continue to grow this program. We have been able to, some of the leads at the high school have taken some of the students who are currently in the computer science and have gone and presented to all the freshmen in the high school, and have built a lot more interest based on that. So I think we were able to reach 500 some odd students in the lower grades and talk to them about this program. And so we've had a lot of increased interest in the classes, as well as different aspects of the program. Anecdotally, something I just, this really delighted me, is we got a phone call from, oh no, sorry, it was an email from our website from a parent who said, my child is in a private school. Can they still go to Star Academy? Which is exactly the kind of thing that we want to hear, right? Well, no, you can't go to the private school and go to the Star Academy, but you can go to the Star Academy. It's even better than private school. So, so that's something we wanted to make sure we shared with this committee.
Colleagues, questions? Member Grindal?
Yes, also, Superintendent Triplett, can you also, just for the committee's benefit, talk about right now our rocketry clubs? Rocketry clubs are
Thank you.
On the verge. Last time I heard we had one for sure, and two, maybe two going to the nationals. I wonder if you could give
It's
an
up
update.
to 3. Yes,
Oh, wow.
thank you, Member Grindal. I can't believe I forgot that. Yes, so I know that in the past, the Rocketry Club at the high school has really done some amazing things, gone and received awards, and gone on the national level. I think during COVID, and I don't know, prior to that, there was a little bit of a lull there, and they maybe struggled to keep it going. But it's back, and what's really exciting is, yes, as Member Grindal said, we have 3 different teams from the Rocketry Club going to the national competition. I think it's in a week. Yeah, it's very, very exciting. And actually is another example of a partnership with the city, because at one point when they were testing their rockets, one rocket got stuck up in the tree, and they had to call the fire department, and the fire department came out and immediately helped get that rocket right down out of the tree, and I think they won after that. So it's really exciting, and I do believe that they are currently fundraising for the trip. The trip is going to be expensive because it's last minute, and they're going all the way, I believe, to Washington, D.C. So you'll probably hear more about that, trying to raise some funds from the community to support the trip.
Excellent. Councilmember Collazo?
Yes, well, back in 2012, I think it was, after one of my campaigns, I had some extra funds. And through Avanzando, we had donated that money to the STEM program over at Loney. And what I did was I brought a friend that does rockets, the Rocketry Club across the bay, and kids had a blast. Oh, it was so much fun. They said I had to use that money for something that was, donated. I said, what better thing than STEM over at the Ohlone College for STEM Day, and it was just fantastic. And some of those kids, I think, continued on with other programs and stuff. Once you pique their interest, that's all you have to do is pique that interest in them,
That's right.
and they move on. So I'm excited for that program.
Thank you.
Very excited.
As the board member Gundal mentioned, we had the opportunity to watch the rocketry program over at the high school a number of years ago, and they've had a history of being successful in their endeavor. And I would ask the board and Dr. Triplett, I believe it's important for the city council to recognize local youth when they participate and even if they're successful or not successful in these endeavors, because they represent the best in our community. And if you would provide that information to our city manager, I would ask at some future council meeting, and maybe it's after the event, that we recognize them at a council meeting and give them commendations for their efforts. Because I think the more that we support and recognize outstanding achievements, just gives the student greater opportunity to realize that what I'm doing is important, it is recognized, and there's value in what I do. So I'm happy to ask the mayor to recognize them at a future meeting, whether they win at the national competition or not. So if you'd provide that information to Mr. Gundal, or to Mr. Benoon, I'd appreciate that.
Absolutely, yeah, thank you. They would be honored, I'm sure.
Excellent. Any
Yeah,
other?
I would just add, even making it to the Nationals is already a win, so that's fantastic. So, but I strongly support that idea.
We'll just ask them to leave the rockets at home.
Oh, no. They'll
Maybe
leave
the fuel,
They'll
the
leave the
rocket fuel.
fuel at home. You want to see the rocket.
There you go. There you go. But to the Star Academy, outstanding. You know, we are competing against charter schools and private schools, and the more we can demonstrate that what your child can receive at the local school academically is far superior or provide greater benefit to your child, the more likely we're going to have families coming back to our public schools. I think this is an outstanding program. I'm interested in hearing a follow-up to it, whether it be at our October one or at the end of the year. I'm interested in hearing a follow-up on how it's going. I would have got to believe that there's going to be a lot of kids that are going to want to get into this program, and it's going to be a situation of we can only accept so many, so how do we determine who's going to participate and who's not? So I'll leave that challenge to you, but what an exciting day for our schools. So thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you.
That's all we have on the agenda, folks. So I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting as quickly as I started.